They were just little children, born into a world already full of troubles. When the pandemic swept across the earth and countries closed their borders, these children came quietly into the world. There were no parties, no happy gatherings to welcome them. Their mothers held them tightly, not in joy, but in fear. While some babies in other parts of the world were wrapped in soft blankets and warm homes, these children were wrapped in old clothes under roofs made of thin wood and sheets of metal. Their first breath of life was filled with the heavy air of worry. The pandemic closed schools, closed roads, and closed hopes. But for them, it was only the beginning. Not too long after, the sound of gunfire began to echo through their villages. Planes flew low across the sky. Soldiers marched on the roads, and loud explosions replaced the sound of morning birds. They didn't understand why their parents looked so tired, why people kept leaving their homes and never coming back. They were too young to understand words like war and violence, but they could feel it. They felt it in the way their mouths held them tight at night. They saw it in their father's eyes filled with fear and sadness. They heard it in the silence heavier than any words. Many days, there was no food left in the house. Some children went out to pick fruit from wild trees. Some searched through the dust, hoping to find even a little something to eat. And at night, when the sky grew dark, they would lie down under the open sky and count the stars. 1, 2, 3. They counted not just to pass the time, but to wish that tomorrow would come quickly. And maybe, just maybe, tomorrow will be better. But tomorrow never brought so good news. There came the earthquake. The ground shook so hard that even the strongest tree trembled. The small houses, already weaker from war and time, began to crack and fall apart. Walls collapsed, roofs fell down, people screamed and ran, but there was nowhere safe to go. The children, too young to run fast, held onto each other, crying in fear. Their homes, once their only shelter from rain and wind, became their final resting place. In one single moment, all their dreams, their tiny hopes, were buried under stone and dust. They were born during the COVID pandemic. They grew up in the middle of a terrible civil war, and they went to heaven when the earth itself broke beneath their feet. They never got to choose their life. They never got to choose their future. But in the short time they were here, they laughed, they loved, and they held on to hope longer than anyone expected. Their lives were like little candles in a storm. Even though the wind blew strong and the darkness was all around them, they still shined with gentle warmth. Today, we remember them not just as victims of tragedy, but as brave little sons who faced the hardest storm this world could give. May they rest peacefully in heaven. May their smiles shine like stars in the night sky, reminding us that even in the darkest time, there is still a part of light. And may we all work, pray, and hope for the day when Myanmar knows no more war, when no children has to grow up in fear, and when love, peace cover this land once again.